Are we live? Yeah, we're good. Today, we're going to be going over current news correlating with lions, koalas, and moose. And for those of you that don't know, my name is Ethan. Welcome to Creature Guide Live Daily News. So let's head on to Africa from environment.yale.edu. So this seems to be a very healthy female lion. Wonder if she's coming in from West Sub-Saharan Africa. So possibly some part of Nigeria, Senegal, Benin, or Ivory Coast. The tiny threats facing the kings of the savannah. New research led by YSE scientists reveals hidden parasites in endangered West African lions. Lions are often celebrated as symbols of strength and resilience, but new research led by Yale School of the Environment scientists suggests that some of the most serious threats facing West Africa's critically endangered lions are too small to be seen with the naked eye. No, I also would put on top of that poaching is a massive problem over in Western Sub-Saharan Africa, much more than down in East Africa as well as Central and Southern Sub-Saharan Africa. So different areas of I'd say where also lions are currently Angola, Botswana, definitely. South Africa, Kenya, they're a bit less of an issue. They still occur, but there's just such a small amount of lions also coexisting with a much larger number of people as well. Except Ethiopia, they have extreme territory issues. A study published this month in Royal Society Open Science offers the first comprehensive look at the parasites living in West African lions, a subspecies that now occupies just 1.1% of its historic range. That's because of the small number, the fact that it's that much territory at the moment that they occupy is actually a bit astounding. Parasites are truly the unappreciated majority. I remember this last time somebody put unappreciated. I guess it's in terms of respect. A grand puppeteer that regulates behavior, immune responses, and even biodiversity, said lead author Naima Harris, the Knobloch Family Associate Professor of Wildlife and Land Conservation. Some might think there's little left to learn from such an iconically charismatic and well-studied species. Oh, we keep learning more about lion feeding behavior, territory, communication displays, or just communication behavior in general every single year. Also, a big thing is when it comes to their anatomy and also different responses to um, different types of overall diseases, as well as just interacting with different environments. Like if you're relocating lions from one part of Africa to another. Also, how certain populations of lions might interact with other carnivores in the region and those specific populations and just the different responses. Because some prides of lions might not respond the same way to certain clans of hyenas, leopards in the region compared to others. Same thing goes for even the different herbivores. But there is a dearth of understanding of the parasite communities that plague African lion populations. But just keeping the poaching parasitism out of this, um, I'm guessing this is some microscopic organism. The research team used advanced DNA metabarcoding techniques to analyze fecal samples, so dung, collected from lions in 4 national parks across Benin, Burkina Faso, and Senegal. I'd say Senegal has somewhere around 40, actually, no, probably 50 to 65 lions, so it is slightly increasing. Benin has, which is adjacent to Nigeria, but I believe Togo, I think, is in between the two countries. Benin has somewhere around, I believe, 80 to 100 lions. And then Burkina Faso, out of these three countries, has the largest amount, somewhere around 150 lions. By extracting, which is, these are tiny numbers compared to different parts of East and Southern Africa. Let's see. By extracting and sequencing environmental DNA, the researchers detected thousands of organisms such as gastrointestinal worms, blood parasites, and bacteria. Well, that's not very specific on the bacteria, considering it's a kingdom of organisms. But that's unfortunate with the gastrointestinal worms and blood parasites. Hookworms were among the most common parasites we found, said Jane Hallam, a molecular ecology postdoctoral researcher at YSE and study co author. In other carnivores, heavy loads can cause anemia and reduced fitness, which is a potential concern for small endangered populations. The team also detected blood parasites such as Sarcocystis and Babesia. I'm not familiar with these specific types of parasites. I also don't focus on this part of the world of organisms, which have been linked to reduced reproduction in other carnivores. Oh, ouch. Lungworms and other gastrointestinal parasites were also present. These findings point to possible health risks, but they should be seen as warning signs rather than proof of illness. Wait a second. I'm pretty sure those can be a bit of an issue for lions. That was funny. Almost a bit deranged. What on earth? Parasites are often why parasites matter for conservation. Geez, Yale, you really are harsh. Parasites are often overlooked in conservation, but they can influence host survival, behavior, and reproduction, and their effects extend through prey communities and ecological networks. Well, okay, I think what it's mentioning here is that there are certain microorganisms that can benefit both carnivores and herbivores, and also it depends on the specific species of animal. There are some um, microscopic organisms that do well, like the certain species of plant-eating mammal needs them, or and it would be the same case for prehistoric species of mammals, whether referred to different species of mammoths, early prehistoric rhinos, or even early relatives of the cat or the dog or wolf family. And same thing would go for different species of dinosaurs, whether it be theropods or long-necked sauropods, and as well as the carnivores. So, yeah, but what it was mentioning about the lions, no, I'm concerned. Also, considering there's not a lot of genetic variety and overall a very small population when it comes to lions in these areas. When it comes to the elephants, Senegal has been receiving a very slight tick or uptick in the elephant population, mainly because there weren't any for a few decades. And recently, last year, we've had a few individuals, what I mean by that, somewhere between 5 to 15, finally come back to the country. Let's see. Um, so by studying parasite diversity, that's a first. Parasite diversity, but mm, no, not too surprised. Scientists can better understand animal health, ecosystem resilience, and even early warning signs of disease outbreaks. Yeah, certain vulture populations over in different parts of southern sub-Saharan Africa would have appreciated that a few years back. The West African lion is one of the planet's most threatened large carnivore populations, with perhaps only a few hundred individuals remaining across its fragmented range. And just to remind everybody, this is not consisting of the whole African, the Panthera leo species of cat throughout Africa. It's just West Africa, which is also a distinct species of or subspecies of African lion. But yeah, there's only a few hundred in this part of Africa. Let's see. When it comes to Benin, and the elephant population, there's somewhere around 3,000 in that specific country. And I believe in Burkina Faso, which is just east of Senegal, there's around 6,000 elephants, which is very captivating. Unlike their east and southern African counterparts, these lions tend to live in smaller prides, which can consist of fewer than 10 individuals. Yeah, it is. It's when you look at the overall ecosystem and the habitat, it's not surprising that they're in that small of a pride. The prey animals also tend to be a bit smaller in size compared to different parts of Africa. This is also because the ecosystems in general do not consist of as much vegetation. They do have a variety of different species of plants, but just not in the same form as different parts of East Africa. Also, because the soils in many cases are not as fertile. So you don't have as expansive and nutritious of grasslands in many cases. It's more of like sub Saharan savanna. In some cases, a bit close to certain areas of South Africa. This study found that the diversity of the lion's parasites reflected their population sizes. Senegal's small, isolated population showed lower overall parasite diversity say variety, than lions in Burkina Faso and Benin, which have larger populations. Yeah, slightly larger. At the same time, DNA metabarcoding allowed researchers to identify individual lions from their feces, revealing that parasite communities varied widely from one animal to another. This diversity means that even within a single population, each lion harbors a distinct assemblage of parasites, highlighting both population level trends and the complexity of individual host parasite interactions.
Every time you read something and I hear that they're identifying an animal by its waist, it makes me go, ugh.
Oh, well, yeah, the specific, individuals themselves, like individual lions or elephants in this instance, like what we were seeing in different studies that had come out recently of Asian elephant populations, separate Asian elephant populations, from India. I think also was it the Democratic Republic of the Congo? Or, part of Angola, possibly, wherein they were, doing research on African forest elephant, dung, and the African forest elephant is a distinct species of African elephant from the bush elephant. The research team also identified DNA from parasites such as the hookworm Ankylostoma duodenale, which can also infect humans and livestock. Alum noted that this does not mean lions are actively transmitting diseases. Yeah, if that's something that I haven't heard of, for the most part, it's that you have carnivores um, transmitting diseases to the herbivores. Now, I wouldn't really include something like a bear, but even then, when it comes to bears, usually they're not transmitting anything. They can have tapeworms. Also, when it comes to the African forest and African bush elephants, they're a bit more closely related to the extinct straight tusked elephants of the Ice Age over in different parts of Eurasia, such as a different species of Paleoxodon. So, reaching well over 20 tons and probably reaching a height of somewhere between 15 to 18 feet. Literally as tall as a giraffe, possibly more in some instances. Bush elephants today reach somewhere around 7.5 to 8 tons. There have been a handful of slightly larger individuals and can have a height of around 11 to 12 feet. They're pushing around 3.5 meters. So it's important to emphasize that our study only shows DNA from these parasites were present in lion feces. It does not confirm that lions were actively infected or capable of transmitting disease. Still, as pressures are on protected areas grow, the risk of cross species exposure also rises. This doesn't mean there is an immediate public health crisis, but it emphasizes the need for careful monitoring at the human livestock wildlife interface.
Well, I try not to eat animal waste when I'm outside.
Yeah, it's good. Let's see, including from the earthworms. Although the study findings greatly expanded the knowledge of parasites, Harris emphasized that policy recommendations would be premature at this stage and more research was needed. Now that we've characterized what species or what parasites are present across multiple West African populations, we need to know where they come from. Also, just to remind everybody, zebras are not native to Western Sub Saharan Africa. Many, when they think of the African savanna, there are zebras usually in that picture. And there are not any that are native to different areas of Western and much of the ecosystems of Central Sub Saharan Africa. They are only native to different areas of Eastern and Southern Sub Saharan Africa. Even historically, they weren't really raining into those different areas. There were different species of horses, but not zebras. Parasites from prey versus from livestock have very different management implications. We also need to know that the or what the parasites do. In other words, what is the consequence of their presence for lions? That's what I was waiting for, and nothing occurred. Sheesh. All right. Well, let's head over to another part of the world. So, from sciencenews.org, let's see what Land Down Under is holding for us. A koala population's rapid rebound may let it escape inbreeding's perils. The marsupials in southern Australia are showing signs of regaining genetic resilience. So, I wonder where this is taking place. Is this over in the koala population of not New Zealand? Um, Queensland, New South Wales, or Victoria. They're all marooned, not necessarily marooned. I mean, Australia is an island. I was going to say they are situated within Eastern Australia,
They're
and
marooned on a
specifically,
continent.
yeah, specifically the forests. Okay, let's. Oh no!
You picked an article that
Great. Well, that's annoying. Okay, let's head over to the another part of the world. Let's head over to Canada. So from CKOM.com. So we've got a moose somewhere in the winter. So moose are moving in. Saskatoon wildlife cameras show growing urban population. I think that's over in Saskatchewan, Canada. So this is a central Canadian province. And in this area, it's interesting. The moose have been experiencing a bit of a decrease in the population over in the past, I'd say 3 decades, like to the early 1990s. So there's only somewhere around 15,000 moose in all of not Manitoba, Saskatchewan. Manitoba has a similar moose population, somewhere between 15 to 20,000 moose. And it's also been a bit of a similar trend. Many more white-tailed deer, though, over in at least, well, I would think Manitoba as well, but at least Saskatchewan has over 375,000 white-tailed deer in the area. Over the past 3 years, a network of 29 trail cameras set up in and around Saskatoon has captured 249 photos of moose, including females with calves, juvenile bulls, and even large males. Well, it's good to hear that at least in this part of Canada, they are increasing in population. Except I think somewhere around it varies, but 3 to 5,000 moose are hunted each year, but that's also not including how many wolves take out. That I do not know. They're not just passing through, we're seeing moose reproducing inside the boundary of the city of Saskatoon. I kind of wonder if this specific city, because I don't know how large it is. Most areas in Saskatchewan are quite small, unless Winnipeg. Okay, Winnipeg, I think, has some size. Maybe I'm confusing it with Manitoba. Um, but I wonder if there's like certain large park areas, and that's where the moose feel like it's a bit more at home. Said Dr. Ryan Brook, a professor and graduate chair in the university's Department of Animal and Poultry Science. Guessing it's like the University of Saskatoon? I don't know. Brook said the cameras operated by his team and PhD student Katie Harris revealed moose activity across 12 of the 29 sites, with sighting not just on the fringes but well within the city, including near train yards and in southeast neighborhoods like Lakeview. So it almost sounds like the Anchorage, Alaska of Saskatchewan. The reason I say that is because Anchorage is completely surrounded by mountains, whereas Saskatchewan, Manitoba, there might be little hills here and there, but it's flat. I mean, it's basically the Minnesota of southern Canada. Okay, Ontario would like a word, and so would a major part of Quebec. I don't know. Maybe North Dakota might be a better one, considering there's less tree coverage in much of different parts of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and so does North Dakota. So, like that little center area towards the top central region of the state. So, also when it comes to the elk population over in Saskatchewan, there's somewhere around 12 to 15,000 elk, and around, I think, 5 to 7,000 gray wolves. I'm not sure how many packs, though. And then also the question is, how many herds of elk are there? Moose will form bachelor herds, usually of males, or bachelor herds are males, or groups that consist of males. During the winter, females not so much. They tend to. You might occasionally see a handful with each other, but they tend to just stick to. They tend to have like a solitary lifestyle, unless they have calves or it's the breeding season. Brooks said he believes some moose follow major corridors like Highway 11 to the city, and the recent increase in sightings could be tied to young moose being pushed away by mothers after calving season. Those young ones They've never done anything except follow mom around, and sure enough, they wander into farmyards or get into the city. I wonder what they're feeding on. Well, this individual looks pretty healthy. Not sure if this is like late fall, though. If it was late fall, I think there'd be snow on the ground. So, like late November, December. Mm, I mean, this could be at some point in late October, or it could be over in the spring. So maybe some part of April. This moose seems fairly healthy. I think it's a female, and like her fur seems in pretty good condition because usually, in many instances, especially in different parts of New England or the northeastern United States, different parts of Ontario or Quebec, you will see instances of just massive detachment of the fur and all these bare patches on the moose from ticks. There's a reason for certain areas having an issue with the tick populations, but I need to look further into that. Oh, also, when it comes to the American black bear population over in Saskatchewan alone, there are well over 50,000 black bears. Grizzly bears are quite rare over in Saskatchewan. There have been, I think, a handful of sightings that have occurred in the northern part of the province, but that's pretty much it. The findings raise questions about how cities like Saskatoon can safely manage wildlife that wasn't always considered a part of the urban environment. That's interesting because if if you're from the United States and you know of Canada and you know what a moose is, then you assume this goes for the general public that everybody in Canada coexists with moose. And it's actually shocking when there are certain even urban areas that don't come into contact with them very often. So Brooke warned that moose are simply not compatible with city life, posing risks to both people and property. We had a neighbor in Lakeview. The moose got in the gate and the gate closed behind it. They couldn't get out. So it took down the west wall of the yard and then the neighbor's fence too. I think his name was Reagan. Okay. Um so that'd be the east wall. Whatever. Um then never mind, it's a bad joke. I mean, it's a good joke, but didn't come out great. So this seems to be what, a younger calf could be around what, 8 to 9 months old?
I don't know. When I asked him, he just refused to answer.
Yeah, seems that way. That's unfortunate. While moose sightings are increasing, there's still occasional visitors, unlike coyotes, while Brooks said are now well established in the city. That's interesting. I mean, you're seeing coyotes. I mean, historically in that part of Canada, they weren't very common. Also, as you would travel further down towards the Midwest of the United States, so different areas, North Dakota, um, I'd say Minnesota. Possibly they were over in different parts of North and South Dakota, especially adjacent to the Rocky Mountain area, the Black Hills, adjacent to Rapid City, South Dakota. But beyond that, wolves, gray wolves, pretty much kept them at bay. Hybrids were also very rare. It wasn't until much later on when the wolf population massively decreased. And then you had coy wolves and as well as coyotes just moving in. So that is interesting. His research team has collected. Oh, wait, he said which Brooks said are now well established in the city. So referring to coyotes. His research team has collected years of coyote data through the same camera network, but he said there's been little support or interest from municipal officials to act on the findings. I wonder what he's referring to. A lot of decisions are being made right now about coyotes without any data in hand, and I have a problem with that. Um, let's see. I think it's that they might be just simply over hunting. Like the coyotes themselves are over hunting, like maybe deer in the area because they are tremendous predators of fawn, especially from white-tailed deer. Though they'll go after the moose calves as well. Black bears are likely a much larger threat. Cougars or mountain lions are present in Saskatchewan, but they're not very common. So let's see. We're hoping someone wants to listen. Well, here's a healthy female moose. I would say they are not having a tick issue, which is good to see. So these are all very healthy moose. I think it's taking place probably during late spring. Doesn't seem to have that Well, it might be summer. She seems very um trimmed in her overall fur content and quite lean as well. I'd say even a bit thin.
She has a bell.
Yeah, she does have a slight bell. Just overall, looks pretty clean. It's a good looking field too. Anyway, so I mean, different parts of Saskatchewan are major in agriculture. So the animal science professor said he believes education, signage, and smart planning, like identifying high risk zones and improving garbage management, could help reduce the potential for dangerous encounters. I think he's referring to the coyotes. So apparently, coyotes, I mean, they probably are overhunting certain animals too, but they are hunting the garbage. So they are virtually the
Coyotes hunt a moose?
raccoons. No, 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 no. But just going after moose, young moose calves have just been born in different times of late May, like the last week of May, first week of June. But no, besides that, they're going after whitetails, probably hunting different rodents in the area, and um, going after also a wide variety of different species of berries. So Brooke is sharing the team's findings through a public Facebook page titled YXC Wildlife, where residents can view photos from the trail cameras and the red study summaries. Is this the same female? She's just running through here.
I don't think so.
A moose was spotted on Thursday, May 29th. I'm guessing this was 2025 in Saskatoon's Stonebridge neighborhood.
There's a lot of muscle definition on this one.
Yeah, it is a female. It's far too large to be male and not have antlers, even if he's got some sort of an issue. We know what these hotspots are like, and we have the data. Now it's just a question of whether anyone wants to use it. Um, oh, is that it? I thought there was more about the moose. Hmm. Well, thanks for joining. And from Prehistoric to Present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guy Live Daily News. We are streaming on both Rumble, YouTube, and Kick. Happy International Ice Age Month. And remember that nothing is better than all animals all the time.